Most often than not, we women misunderstand that only if you're gaining a little bit of weight, it has something to do with your hormones. Only when there is sleep interruption, there's something to do with hormones. Or only when there's a change in the cycle, it has something to do with hormones. But the reality is, a lot of things that we do naturally every single day can affect the imbalances of our hormones, whether we call it hormonal dominant or things of that nature, right? So if you have been feeling anxious lately, always feel like you're feeling like you're lacking behind, you sometimes feel a little bit clumsy and unable to make quick decisions, or often find yourself in a spiraling state of, then there are high chances that these are also a sign that your hormones are running wild. And in this video, we're going to explore how your hormones affect your focus, your mental well-being, signs that you are actually functioning from micro survival states every day that comes from the current lifestyle you're living in, and we'll go through habits that you need to build to support your hormones long term that keeps you young and vivacious. So hi, if you're new here, my name is Baita and my work revolves around transforming women who are high functioning women who wants to increase their standard and sustainable performance, who are now going through burnout. So whatever that I'm teaching you here, these are like gold mine. So keep them in your daily routines, because I want to hear you say, oh my god, I finally feel like myself again. I got my spark back, right? And without further ado, let's get into today's video. Let me remind you again, your hormones are not working against you. Your body may simply be responding to the life you're currently living in, which is of overwhelm for way too long. And I think that this is something every woman deeply needs to hear today. Because somewhere along the way, women are taught to blame themselves for being exhausted, for not coping well, for being emotionally reactive, for being constantly anxious, the inability to focus, struggling with sleep, feeling disconnected from their inner well-being in their body and their mind and their emotions, and pouring out from an empty cup. This is when we start searching for, how do I fix my hormones? What kind of supplements do I need to take? What kind of detox do I need to do, right? But the deeper question needs to arise from this. Let's shift this, right? What kind of environment has your body been surviving in for this long? Because hormones do not operate separately from your lifestyle. They respond to stress that you're facing every day, the sleep that you're putting in every night, the food that you're consuming every single meal, the emotional safety, the way you speak to yourself, the way you are responding from the environment, the relationships, are they nourishing you? Are they depleting your energy? The overstimulation that you are putting yourself through, the scrolling, the conversations, the sensory signals, your nervous system health, what are you functioning from? Is it constantly multitasking? And your biological rhythm, right? And in today's video, I want to talk about how to balance your hormones naturally with a more grounded, holistic way. This is a perspective of supporting your body the way it was meant to thrive, without constantly needing to fight them. First, let's understand your body was never designed for constant survival mode. In the most recent consultation I had with my client, right, she was sharing this with me. She was saying, I'm doing everything that I can. I'm doing everything right? I'm trying to eat healthy. I have had a period where I have lost my menses for a while. I was stressed out in that moment. I was taking all the supplements that was recommended to me. I was trying to stay productive, working in an environment where I am constantly leading my team. And my gynae finally asked me to take hormone pills, which I refused. Most of us are in that state, that it becomes so chronic that we are forced to take some sort of medication, right? Of course, if the medication helps you, then by all means, take it, right? But most of us are stuck in this state of like if I'm taking medication, I'm going to be stuck in them forever, right? This is where real life application comes in. And as we spoke more, right, as I prompted her more, she casually mentioned sleeping at 1 a.m. almost every night because she wants to prepare for the next morning presentation for the teams, constantly checking emails, especially first thing in the morning right after she opens her eyes, skipping meals in between, worrying about work all day, presentation even after she came back home, feeling guilty whenever she had a moment of rest. And honestly, this is the reality a lot of high functioning women are functioning from. From the outside, we all look fine, but internally, our nervous system is suffering from constantly anticipating for the worst case scenarios. And when the nervous system is in this state constantly, it stays in fight, flight, freeze, fawn response as a way of the body adapting to stress. Sooner this becomes the state of functioning overall that is pushing the body into exhaustion, burnout, anxiety, and depression. The way we function here affects our cortisol hormones, our insulin, our thyroid health, our reproductive hormones, digestion, sleep quality, and inflammation. See how this affects our body overall? Let's understand this very important thing. Your body is the most intelligent super machine that is adaptive to what you feed it. It already has the natural healing blueprint. All you need to do is bring your body to this awareness. And when your body is feeling unsafe, overwhelmed, overstimulated, under-rested all the time, it prioritizes survival over healing, which means it is constantly functioning from elevated state of hormones, right? It's like a hormonal cocktail we are living in. Wired but tired, emotionally drained, inability to relax, waking up first thing in the morning and all you can think of is how tired I'm being, right? How many of us allow ourselves to fully rest after a massive burnout? Only when there is like no choice. Your body is feeling sick, you feel like you cannot push any longer, and when the doctor prescribes sleeping pills, only then we are forced to stop, right? This is not coming from regulation. This is recovery from chronic stress exposure. And one of the things that keeps us women trapped in this cycle of stress is the way we have normalized dysregulated living, aka the modern living. Let's speak about the coffee and cortisol lifestyle, right? There was a season in my life where mornings were literally looking like this. I'll wake up in the morning, although I feel tired, I don't even check with myself. I just grab coffee immediately, I rush through work. I don't prepare anything before work. I start work immediately. I skip breakfast. Like, who takes breakfast, right? I multitask immediately. I push myself through exhaustion, task after task, patient after patient, and things like that. And by afternoon, I already feel tired, right? Like my body couldn't function anymore. I can't focus. There's brain fog. There's anxiety, cravings, irritability, all of it together. And I feel like I was aging faster than ever. And this is something that most of us have normalized. We call it being busy, we call it being ambitious, we call it being an adult. But the fact is, biologically, your body is experiencing stress. And this is how it is manifesting in your real life. When you are constantly under-eating, not prioritizing your self-care, skipping meals, constantly overloading yourself with caffeine, consumption, all of these stuffs, right? Sleeping late and all that. What happens is you tend to overlook the signs and signals your body is giving you as cravings and all that, and because of this, you raise your blood sugar by eating all these tidbits and all of the things. Remember? You always want to eat something that feels good at the moment, and this affects your hormones massively. Simple natural changes that can actually help are these. Note them down. First thing, when you are breaking your fast, first meal of the day, right? Make sure it is high in protein, at least 20 to 30 grams per meal. Second, getting enough fiber at every meal, at least 20 to 25 grams per day. That supports your digestive system. 3, having enough hydration, which means more than just drinking water. Eat foods that are high in water content because your body is made of 70% water. If there's not enough water, there's not enough hydration in the body, you'll have dry skin, dry mouth, dry everything, and the process of digestion becomes slower and stagnant. 4, have enough regular intervals before your meals. Don't eat a big meal and then you have like snacks in between, especially if you are working through balancing your hormones, right? And 5, reduce ultra processed food gradually, right? Try with one meal that is wholesome and then you gradually increase it, right? Nothing happens overnight. And 6 is the most underrated one but helps big time. Slowing down while you're eating. This is called mindful eating. Chew every bit like 10 to 20 times before you actually swallow. You're not just aiding your digestion, you are actually improving the hormonal signal that goes from your gut to your brain, signaling your brain it is safe to slow down. Healing your hormone is often less about the intensity and the speed. It's more about slowing down with supportive habits that builds your system. You need to understand this thing. Your body is often keeping score with the lifestyle that you're living in. One thing that I noticed while hosting my retreats, right? Many women don't realize how exhausted they are until they are finally forced to slow down. The first day of the retreat is always the most interesting day because during meditation, right, we often feel like the shoulders of these participants are always tense, the jaw is always clenched, the eyebrows are always like, they have these lines. They're not always relaxed. And they're constantly checking their phones, constantly trying to work, struggling to sit still, feeling guilty because resting apparently is being lazy, right? This is a lot of misconception coming to surface. Some women would literally tell me, I don't know how to switch off or rest anymore. That's literally the reality we live in. Honestly, that broke my heart at that time because somewhere along the way, we were seeing rest as being associated with laziness instead of a space of creating healing, But then something beautiful happens by the second day and the third day. Their nervous system slowly adapts to the pace that we are going, right? We are surrounded by nature, we have the slow movement, we have mindful conversation and nourishing meals together. And this is not just something magical. This is something that you are biologically brought into, right? That fosters deeper connection, calmer breathing, regulating together. We call this co-regulation, right? When you're supporting each other. It also aids in emotional release, better digestion, softening of speech, trusting of space, and elevating that energy. These kind of presence you don't force into. This is literally returning to the mind and body the way you were created. Not because of some magical supplements, not because of some magical remedy, because your body finally understood it is safe enough to exhale, to embrace, to release. And I think many women today are living in disconnection from their body, their mind, the natural rhythm, right? And we don't even understand what regulation is anymore. Let's understand another thing about your hormonal healing, right? Hormonal healing leads to emotional healing. And this is so crucial because hormones are not only influenced by food, they are influenced by the internal environment that you're living, which is under your own creation, right? A woman who constantly lives in survival, self-criticism, self-doubt, negative thinking, perfectionism, loop thinking, right? Constantly being insecure about herself, people-pleasing, trying to compensate to people's needs rather than your own needs, carrying stress of others in your body, carrying others' emotions in your emotions, replaying the same thing over and over again, activating these hormones, right? On the outside, it all looks like, oh, I'm a giver, I perform well and all that. But internally, Your body is watching you, keeping score, and being exhausted from constantly trying to earn your worthiness. If you want deeper insight of this, I recommend these two books, right? The Body Keeps Score. He explains about how your body never forgets of the things that you do, right? Daily conversation, daily things that you do. And this book is brilliant, right? When the body says no. This is something that is important, especially if you're going through a burnout. I would recommend this book by Dr. Garber Marte, the brilliant mind behind this book, right? These two books can really open your mind up about the things that your mind does not see on the daily, but they are actually watching the way you behave, right? Within yourself, within people, and everything around you. This is where you need to understand, right? Practices like yoga, like breath work, we call this pranayama. Mindfulness, slowing down, walking gently on the ground, feeling every sensation in your fingers, the presence of air around your body, noticing the little things, emotional processing, reframing, all of which are a form of slowing down. This art is so powerful, not because they are deemed as fashionable or trendy wellness, but because they are literally teaching your body how to feel safe again, how to function better, and how to support your higher vision of yourself, which ultimately ties to your own identity, right? Which is something that I do deeply with my 12 weeks core coaching program in my one-on-one coaching with my clients. Because when your identity shifts, everything around you builds intentionally with the habits that you need, that's when the real magic happens. Next, your biological rhythm matters more than you think, right? One of the most underrated things affecting women's hormones today is circadian rhythm disruption. Late nights, blue light exposure, constant stimulation, scrolling before sleep, working at all hours of the day. Your body loses rhythm, and the hormones thrives on rhythms, right? Your cortisol, melatonin, hunger hormones, reproductive hormones, they all work on timing. Unlike men, right? Every day they can be productive like 365 days a year. Women, we are very cyclical, right? We run on 28 to 35 days of cycle. This is why your morning sunlight matters, your sleep consistency matters, slow evening matters. Your body heals through rhythm, not through force, and not through multitasking. I'll tell you a secret. The key to heal faster, to bring your hormones back to balance naturally, right, is by slowing down. I speak in depth about our hormonal cycle and things that we can do within the 28 days where we have little phases, right, in this video here. So watch this after this video. Next one is movement should support your body and not in a form of punishment. I personally think that social media has created this belief that healing must look extreme. Like within 3 months, I'm going to go from this to this. Extreme workouts, extreme dieting, 21-day transformation, all of this may seem like it's transformational, but if it is chasing the results rather than bringing your hormones back to the present, which is why a lot of women go back and forth in the same loop for many, many decades even, sometimes you just need to take one step back and realize that this worsens the situation and worsens the exhaustion you feel. Your body actually needs grounding first before it creates transformation, right? Things like walking, simple walking, grounding walking, yoga, stretching, mobility work, strength training in moderation, nervous system friendly movements, right? Somatic dancing, and all of these are created for your hormones to heal and energize and not to push yourself into exhaustion and burnout. If there is something I want you to take away from this video, it is this, right? Your body is not your enemy. You don't have bad genetics like I used to think. Your symptoms are not random. They don't just appear out of the blues. They are simply a reflection of your lifestyle. Your body simply is responding to the chronic stress, overstimulation, emotional suppression, lack of rest, lack of nourishment, disconnection from your natural rhythm. Because hormonal healing is not about having expensive lifestyle. It's about creating a body that supports the lifestyle that you want and not the ones you're trying to escape from. And sometimes healing begins in the smallest way: sleeping early, eating properly, slowing down, breathing deeper, resting without guilt, listening to your body again, right? Because when a woman finally stops fighting all of this, she stops fighting herself. And this is exactly when your body usually starts to respond well. If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments below what is the one thing that you have been trying to get better at, especially when it comes to your hormonal health. If you thoroughly enjoy these conversations around nervous system healing, yoga, emotional wellness, psychology, stress recovery, holistic health for women, because you want to age sexier and stronger and build that body of your dream, life of your dream, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.